Alright, this video, I'm going to tell you, I was considering not doing it. Not because I wasn't interested, and not because I wasn't going to watch TNA. Unfortunately, I couldn't watch it last week because of how I was feeling and, like I said, what was going on in my apartment building. But these types of situations where we have literally a pre-recording, this, going into a live show, which is Under Siege on Impact Plus. One of the things I never liked about this type of situation is that you got the show one day and then you had the thing right afterward. You really could never really gauge if the show is going to be great or not, or good or not, because a lot of times you got them so close together, it doesn't really feel very good. It would be better to have a week away from it, or at least 3 or 4 days, but the next day usually sucks. Not because you can't record it, but because you really can't get a good feeling of what you just saw. Sometimes people take a day to really, or two, to really soak in what's going to be leading into in this case, a TNA Plus show. Here, let me give it to you like this. I will tell you, it wasn't bad construction of this. And it's leading beyond a Under Siege. Easily, this is going beyond Under Siege. That's the reason for this. This is not about Under Siege. This is about what they're building going beyond it. And I want to make this clear before I get started. I will say the construction is not bad compared to what we've been getting in AEW and what we've been getting in Raw and SmackDown. Because let's be perfectly clear. If y'all can hear me, I'm popping out there. Sorry, I had to do it just so you know. I am trying to make sure you understand. Because I know people, there was a few who liked the AEW Dynamite show. Even though I believed, even though we got a lot of promos, did not improve the overall stories that we got. We got more promos, yes. And there are a few stories that are good, but then they don't really make a lot of sense for most of them. Other than Hangman Page and when it came to Will Ospreay. That was fine. But what's going on with the Hurt Syndicate and MJF? What happened with Dustin? What's going on with Mercedes? Dude, I just felt like the construction has not been good. Then you look at WWE. You look at Raw, which is lazy writing. I'm sorry. It's been lazy writing on Raw. That's one of the reasons why I don't watch it and review it. Because I watch it, but I don't review it. Because I know that the writing for Raw has not been good. Then you look at NXT. When you see it, it's obvious that the writing is not normal because that's not Shawn Michaels' writing. It's not the same. It's Triple H. It's Shawn, and including TNA. I can understand TNA and Shawn, but Triple H added into it, it doesn't feel right. It's off. And then you get SmackDown, which is worse. I've seen JD. Look, guys, Alex does reviews on Raw, but he doesn't do reviews on SmackDown much. And then he doesn't even review Dynamite anymore. So I'm like, these shows are not that good. Now, I will say with TNA, this is not about being biased. I have told you my feelings about TNA. It's not always good. The writing here, I will say, is better than Raw, obviously. And better than SmackDown. Is it better than TNA is better than NXT? No. No, because they take a more bigger focus on there than when it comes to TNA. I'm sorry. This is NXT, this is TNA. But let's make this very clear. Is it better booking, even though it's more superior quality of their production, of the storytelling? Is it better? Because you can have superior writing, but doesn't mean it's better. I could say it's like this. They're close. So if that makes any sense to you. So I will tell you that what we got here is pretty good. Not great, but good. Better than WWE is producing on the two main shows. And not better than the middle show, which obviously is combined with TNA, which does give it something more. Let's go through these matches quickly because we have 5 matches. let's go through Ali versus well, let's make this very clear. I did not see Ace Austin getting attacked last week. I didn't see it. Since I didn't see the show. So I didn't know until they spoke about it. Because of the backstage segment, because he wanted to get his hands on Mustafa Ali. So I didn't know. Good match. But in the end, once he got tapped out, that was it. It was a nice heel hook. Well, somewhat like a heel hook. But twisted to the side. Kind of like he was doing an arm bar, but on his leg to mess up his knee. Which I found to be interesting. And then you look at how Ali is working. Ali is working very interestingly. He is so pissed off that he lost to a junkie. Well, not junkie. He was an alcoholic. But pretty much in his mind, he's nothing but a damn junkie. An addict. He's lost his damn mind. And it shows, which I'm fine with that. The question is going to be where they're going to go next. Next, we got... What? Let me give it to you like this. When you look at the Northern Armory, do you really care? Do I care about Icarus? Do I care about Saints? No. I care about Eric Young. I'm not saying that Icarus and Saints are bad wrestlers. They're not. It's just we have barely any type of character to them. Eric Young is the character. And they just feel empty. Now we look at the Aztec Warriors. We look at Octagon Jr. and Laredo Kid, who has been in TNA for years. And I've said this for so many years. They need to give this man a fair title. He should have been X Division champion years ago, and they never gave it to him. The only thing they gave him was Digital Media Championship, which was trash. It was trash. That belt was damn trash. I hated it. Because I knew it was a joke belt. But now that I look at Octagon Jr., I look at Laredo Kid, I can see tag champs right there. And their match with the Northern Armory was good. And they won it. Now, I don't know where they're going to go with the normal... No. The reason I'm botching here is I don't know what they're going to do with Eric Young. Due to the fact that Macklin is going to have to be dealing with Matt Cardona, which... We now know Macklin's not going to be on Under Siege because he had to have staples in his head. And he had a cracked skull? Ooh, if that's true. So he's not there, but he will be back next week. Let's put in this perspective. I am interested to see what they're going to do. Are they going to make Macklin drop the title to Matt Cardona? Or are you going to see Eric Young protect him because he wants that damn title? That's what's going to be the big question. I don't know. You guys tell me below. Do you believe that Eric Young is going to protect Steve Macklin next week from losing from a Matt Cardona? That's going to be a big question. Next, we get this match because they're trying to set up the story between Cody Deaner and Eddie Edwards because the match of Under Siege. Now, here's the problem for me personally, and I've said this earlier. Because you got two shows so close together, barely even a day. You got Thursday and then Under Siege is Friday. It's so close. It feels rushed. So this should have happened a couple of weeks ago. Really. This should have happened 2 weeks ago. Not this week. It feels really, really rushed and pushed. And who do we get? What was the guy's name again? Jake Painter. Jake Painter or Jack Painter. I think it's Jake Painter. Why did you pick that name? He gets his ass handed to him. And then we get to stare down between Eddie and we get it from Cody. Let's make this very clear. This is not a bad story, but it's rushed. That's the problem here. It would have been better that it was not rushed. But because they wanted to set this coinciding of his contract, there's your problem. And for me personally, it just feels like this should have happened 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. And then we have segments for Cody. Then we have segments for Eddie. And then you have some type of interaction between us. So it just feels forced and rushed. Moving on. we get, this is where I'm very confused. Let's make this very clear. First Class versus Sammy and a Mike Santana. It's not the problem of that story. It's obvious they're trying to do something with Santana until he's ready to start going to the main title scene, which is not now. It's just not now. If he's not going after the international title or the X Division title, it's the world title, and they want to give him something to do in between that time. It is obvious they look like they're beginning to position him there. And they're letting him work with, guess who? The one who helped the one we don't like to talk about all the time is causing trouble. And it's Tessa Blanchard, who I'll get to when it comes to the debate of the week. You see the name there. And if anyone's known me for years, I will talk about that title in a minute. But seeing that Sammy's working with him, I'm, at least for the moment, I'm fine with that. I'm actually kind of glad he's working with him. Because at least until you can clear up what's going on with Joe Henry and Trick Williams and what's next for Trick going away into NXT, or better yet, what's going to happen with Joe Henry next for him, because I don't think it's Santana, at least he'll be working with a former world champion. And yes, it is First Class. But let's make it very clear. First Class does have some comedic chops behind them. They're not bad. And seeing Casey Navarro is the one who's doing the heavy lifting in the match. Let's make it very clear. Do I hate AJ Francis? No, I'm not like everybody else. I just believe if he wants to feel more legitimate, he shouldn't be trying to lean into, well, I'm going to act the way they think I'm going to act. I feel like he should be doing more. And one of the things that always pissed me off was Tennessee Whiskey. I really wish he would retire that for a little while and do other moves. Look, he did different things during the match. He did a senton. And I'm not telling you that he can't do other things, because he did. I just would love to see him just not keep falling into that same trap everybody keeps putting him in. Because everyone keeps screwing with him because of the way he acts constantly the same way. I'm not like everybody else. I'm not chewing the guy out because he does the same things over and over again. I'm just saying it like this. Don't lean into it every day. When you're going to be filmed, do other stuff. Show that you are more important than they said you were. That's what I've always said about AJ Francis. Of course, you know who won because of all the cheating, which is all right. He did. It's fine seeing that Sammy got pinned by Casey. It's all right because Casey needs this. He's still young in the business, and when it comes to Sammy, he's been around for a while, and it'll help him, which is fine. Here's a match I personally don't care about, but I am happy to happen. Spitfire versus Viper and Maserati. Women from the outside. Thank you, TNA. Keep doing it. Once in a while, get more women from the outside, pay them a little bit, let them go in the ring. If it's going to be tag, and then the next couple of weeks, let them be separate, let Viper wrestle, then let Maserati wrestle. That's good, because you give the feeling of filling up your damn division. Because that's one of the major problems that knockouts have always had. They always had the same women going against each other constantly, and then you have to do 8 women or 10 women, or like back in the time when we don't like to think about during the pandemic, 12 women matches, and the kicker was that was no different than before the pandemic, because they kept using the same women because they didn't want to pay anybody, or counting if anybody would even work with them. I'm just glad they showed it, but now they're going back to the women, to Jody Threat being asked by Danny Luna, let's set this up again, that if we don't win, we break up. And I'm like, really? You're going there again. You have nothing for them, but for them to go back to the same thing they did last year, that if they don't win, they break up. And honestly, that's not what they need. Either you purposely break them up, and they better break up, or you drop this shit. And what happened? They won, then the ashes came out, and they got their butts kicked, and they clicked the 2 titles together. Fine. But if they lose, they better break up, because they need to break up at this point, because we need more women's in the division. If you're not going to bring in Viper as a wrestler, you're not going to bring Maserati as a wrestler, and you only have Indy Hartwell right now, because there was rumors, I think there's another woman coming in. We need more women in TNA, or better yet, more women in TNA to be seen on Impact. This is all they got. Final match. Moose and Brian versus Elijah and Joe with Trick Willie at commentary. I'm like, it's alright. This is the first time that we have Trick on commentary. And let's make it very clear. Trick is flamboyant when he talks. And there was no problem with him. But due to the fact that this is still one, not even a day is going to be removed from this. Yes, this is a recording. We know it's recording. But you're airing it literally on Thursday and you're giving Under Siege Friday. You tell me, doesn't this feel really forced? That's one of the problems when you do a recording on a Thursday and then you release it on Impact Plus Friday. It would have been better if it was a week before. That's what we really needed. But we didn't get this. Now, of course, Elijah got the pin on Brian Myers. No problem. And then, due to the fact I did not see last week, that now supposedly Trick is going to be teaming up with a... You're going to see him team up with Kaz this Friday, and then this Sunday, he's going to have his match against Joe Henry. You get this, and you're like, okay, is this going to be good or not? I don't know. Definitely because I didn't see what happened last week. I don't know how the interaction was between Kaz and Trick. It seemed to be alright until Trick said, no. When Kaz was asking him to get into the ring after the match was over, he said, I'm not getting in there, dog. You do you, I'm doing me. But then he gets destroyed by the Jeff Jarrett treatment, getting a guitar to the head. So, Tricky gets up standing there pissed off that his dog at this moment got his ass handed to him by a guitar from a Elijah. This is what we got closing the show. Now, is it good to close that way? It wasn't bad. I'm not going to be mad about it. But I'm going to tell the truth that I really wish this was a week ago. Not now. If you'd done it last week, cool. You could have done interviews for both of them. And I think that would have been more effective. Because having it one day before the Impact Plus show, well, TNA show, I still do Impact, I'm sorry. The TNA show just feels forced and rushed. Now, let's talk about the things that happened in the back. Let me give it to you like this. When you look at Xia Brookside and Rosemary's, do I care about Rosemary pulling her to hell? No. Because it doesn't feel like it's been developed enough. Now, suppose they're going to have a match together and she's going to drag her to hell and Xia's going to say, no, you ain't dragging me to hell. You're not grabbing my soul. And that Ling Yang Lee was the one who was the catalyst for this. Doesn't it sound familiar when it came to Rosemary? Because they did this before with Rosemary. And I do not remember who they did this. I do believe it was with, who was it? The Bunny with Rosemary. I can't remember the situation when it came with the Bunny, Rosemary, and I think it might have been, Su Yung maybe? It's hard to remember, it was years ago. But it feels like that. It feels like a repeat. But now it's Xia Brookside. And I'm like, nothing wrong with repeating something, but if you're not building it constantly, and you only see it maybe once every couple of weeks, not every week you build into it, it feels empty. And that's my problem. Next, let's make this clear. This is the closing of it. Debate of the week. Now, the reason that name means a lot to me personally was because during the first couple of years that I did this channel, and you could go back, I believe it's in my playlist, because I do have a playlist. I did Booking the Wrestler, Debate of the Week, and Mixed Bag of Wrestling. One of those shows is what I used to do. Debate of the Week is what I used to do, which now has transitioned to, when I can do it, a Gump Report. So when I saw the debate between Stone and Santino Marella, that made me think, there's my name, Debate of the Week. It flew out of my name and went onto the computer. And I'm like, yep, there we go. What did I think about this debate? Where you have literally Victoria Crawford on one side and Santino's daughter, and let me give it to you like this. It kind of feels not like it's legitimate when you look at Ariana Grace, who is TNA NXT's liaison, and she should be on the other side where she's supposed to be with Victoria Crawford and Mr. Robert Stone. That's where she should be. I kind of think that's where she should have been. Because she could have been forced into that corner instead of being with her dad, where that could have really been a nice story where she's being forced there, and NXT and pretty much Ava told her, well, this is what's going to happen. You're going to have to do this. You got to be with Stone and Caulfield. That would have made it very interesting when she went against them and stayed and was on her dad's side. That would have been interesting. What they both talking about what's the best for TNA was fine. Seeing that Stone might have overdone it a little bit is not against what I've seen with Stone when it came to Von Wagner. So he's still acting very over the top when it comes to his emotions, which is fine. Seeing that they attacked because everyone was in Santino's corner. And when Ariana got grabbed and put out of the ring by a Tessa Blanchard, then let me give it to you like this. I've been very critical of how the build for Tessa is. There is no lie about it. There's no qualms about it. If she's supposed to be a total badass, she should have gone through every woman, no matter if she was a heel or face. She's made it very clear she doesn't give two flips about any bitch that's on the damn roster. She will take them all on and she will beat them all, which she did when she was there before the pandemic and when it was going on. That was the way she was. And they didn't go there. That was the problem for me personally. And since then, I have not liked the booking. Now, here, I didn't mind what she did and how she got, well, almost powerbombed. Because she did take out Gia Miller. She did attack, when she attacked the two women there, you get a, Did she run in there a little too quick? And that's Marsha? Yes, she did. And seeing that she got nailed in the face and Caulfield went to the floor and rolled out the ring, she was not going to be involved in it. This was about making sure Ariana Grace looked good and making sure that she can get powerbombed, and that's Tessa Blanchard, through a table, which did not happen. The table refused to break. Not once, but twice. I do not know what happened with that table. She got lifted up by Ariana Grace and she got powerbombed into that table by Marsha. And normally those tables just break. Table did not break. So what did Marsha do? Marsha and Ariana Grace, Ariana Grace pulled the cover off of the table. Marsha set it up in the corner, and she's going to try and do what was it? What was the move? A Death Valley driver into it. And she did it great, but the table still refused to break. And I'm like, what the fuck? Those tables always break. Now, I'm sure some people are going to say, well, that's what she gets. The table didn't break the first time. She earned that because of the way she acted. The second time, she earned that for the way she acted. I'm not going there. I know, and I'm saying this clearly, guys. And I just want to say this was okay for an ending for the debate of the week. But I'm saying this for me, as someone who's trying to be as objective as possible as a wrestling reviewer. I'm not perfect. I'm not the best. A lot of times I botch. A lot of times I forget things and should add them, and I have to go back and refilm stuff because I forget. But I try to be an honest guy. I know there are people out there that just don't like Tessa for what she's done, and I understand it. But we are talking about her getting powerbombed into a table that could hurt her back. And then Death Valley drived into a table that could have hurt her. And neither times did the table didn't break. You can have your qualms about it. You don't have to like the person, but you don't want to have pain towards that person. You don't want the person to actually get hurt badly. Okay? I've stated it that I don't like how they booked her. If they wanted to make her really legitimate, she should have gone through every woman on the damn roster and then proved that she's ready to go through Marsha instead of going through just a Jordan Grace who was leaving, Ling Yang Lee, and a couple of tag matches, and that's it. I felt that was the wrong way to book her. Do I believe at least they're keeping her away from the title right now? Maybe. But I just still feel that her booking isn't very good. But what they did here was okay. But that's just my point of view. Peace.